So it's a lovely Friday evening, August 8th, 2024. And I came across this article written by Ghk Lall in the KAIETEUR News that I wanted to share. I wanted to give my thoughts. In fact, I have endorsed a lot of stuff that is written here by Mr. Lall. Mr. Lall apparently worked here in New York, in the United States, in Wall Street. And sometime during the reign of the coalition, he went back to Ghana. He was given a job as chairman of the Ghana Gold Board. According to some PPP blogs, he also is some sort of part owner or shareholder in Denra Waves. I can't verify that. We know Denra Waves was run by the veteran journalist Dennis Chabal. Apparently, he's also a close friend of the KAIETEUR News, Glenn Lall, and he is a columnist for KAIETEUR News, and apparently he writes a number of editorial pieces. So I'm just going to be going through this and giving my take. And before I go on, Freddy Kassoons was separated from the KAIETEUR News because he published a column refuting the PNC's allegation of the PPP government practicing apartheid in Guyana. Glenn Lall wanted that piece to be scrubbed. He didn't want that piece to be printed. And there was a follow between himself and Freddie. So Ghk Lall apparently was in the room when the two protagonists, they were having out about this column, and that was the end of Freddy Kassoons. And Ghk Lall is now the premier columnist for KAIETEUR News. Okay, let me get into the article. According to Ghk Lall, the PPP General Secretary and Vice President Bar Jagdo boasts that the PPP is the only multi-ethnic party in Guyana. He says to give Jack his jacket. And though Jagdo has done everything in his power to be hauled away in a straitjacket, the jacket that is due to him, multi-ethnic in bracket, must be given to him as a matter of principle. It is what is right, what speaks for itself. When he compared his fine fellows in the opposition PNC and AFC camps. So he's saying that the PPP has a better multi-ethnic lineup as compared to the PNC and the AFC camps. That's not me saying that. That's Ghk saying this in this columnist, but I want to tend to agree with him. He goes on to say that the PNC has its slate of leaders. Frankly, these slates of leaders is of the same color, has the same brittle texture of a tablet on which we used to write. The young people today wouldn't know about the tablet. They may be thinking about the electronic tablet that they use today. We're speaking about when we were small, going to school, and we had to write on tablets. Now, he's saying that the surging, floating, parading AFC came out with its own board of men, with luminous gleams, and it's the same damn thing all over again. Again, Lall is referring to the optics of both of these two parties, lack of diversity, and don't even talk about in terms of inclusion of women. He's saying that if people don't see the lack of diversity, then you need to consult an ophthalmologist or a cataract specialist. So I'm going to skip some of the stuff that he has here because it's very long. He's saying that, yes, I hear that there is a strident opposition to tokenism and other forms of materialism, and those do not have much going on for them. But the Cooperative Republic of Guyana is not the United Kingdom. In fact, there is nothing that can be said to be cooperative about it. Check with a watching and absorbing and concluding electorate. Who are these people? How come there is no one that looks like me? There is politics, then there's politics. I think what he's trying to say to us that, yeah, we know the party tries to put, let's say, the PPP, an Indian-oriented party, has blacks in the party, and some people are saying it's tokenism. He's saying that tokenism is better than no tokenism. There's a difference between tokenism and there's a difference between politics and real politics. He says tokenism, it may be, and even in the PPP, but tokenism has a special fragrance about it that is more seductive than L'Oreal put in a glass bottle together. Jaguar show that he has what it takes to rise to the challenge and to master the dark arts of tokenism. Are Aubrey Norton and C.A. Nigel Hughes concede in the public arena that Jaguar has gotten the better of them on this one? Are both Mr. Hughes and Mr. Norton silently thundering by the unwillingness, their tone deafness, that they are lesser men, leaders of a lower caste than Jaguar is? Though that takes some doing, obviously. They have handed the higher ground to him with their slates and boards of pilots and princes that clear the way in the looming election tickets ahead. Now for a dose of bitter reality. That is Guyana's public racial medicine. There's tokenism, then their optics. Seeing is believing. Believing is choosing. Choosing gives a chance at winning. Something, just don't ask me what yet. So he's saying that other races are probably looking at these two slates and saying to themselves, you know what? Even if maybe tokenism, the PPP has the more multi-ethnic slate. It is a fact. If you look at a PPP rally, there's a lot of blacks in that rally. Even if they buy them, they're there, as compared to a PNC rally or even AFC. But I would want to say the AFC that I voted for in 2011, 2015 is not the AFC of today. Before I came to the United States, the 2015 victory celebration of the coalition, I attended. In fact, I deliberately went to both PNC rally. I went to the PNC rally to see what was going on at the Square Revolution, and then I went to the Square of Independence, the basketball court, to see what was going on at the AFC rally. I went there just to see for myself the crowd turnout and the kind of people at those two rallies. The PNC had a massive crowd. The crowd was bigger than the AFC's crowd at Independence Park. The PNC's rally, you could have seen, it was more of grassroots people, the salt of the earth, as they would say. Mostly black people. The AFC rally, the first thing I observed, a lot of vehicles parked on both sides. Mill Street coming right back into, I think that street by St. George's, so that the roads that are bordering Independence Square, with the basketball court, that whole square was, how should I put it? There were cars parked on both sides. And the first thing I observed is that the first thing I noticed, a lot of mixed race people were sitting on top of their cars. They had the children playing, right? They had Indians, they had blacks. But the thing that struck me was the mixed races of people. It's the first time I've ever seen, or the first situation where I've seen so many mixed race people in attendance. That was the final night that all the parties had before elections day. That's the 2015 elections. So I think what Ghk Lall is talking about is the optics that you're seeing now in the leadership of both the PNC, the AFC. I saw an article a couple hours ago written by Dr. Randy Prasad. I think he's some sort of advisor to the president of NALI. Dr. Randy Prasad is some sort of professor at one of those universities here in America. And he wrote in an article about seeing David Hines, Dr. David Hines, holding the hands of the AFC leader, holding the hands of the PNC leader, and bringing them on stage in Boston. So he's saying in the article, this is what it comes down to for the WPA to bring both the PNC leader and the AFC leader on stage at one important event, that's for emancipation. And let's focus back on this column here by Ghk Lall. He's saying that Guyana's three political musketeers know what makes the local electorate tick. Tokenism feeds into keeping up appearances. There we go again, tokenism. Right? Some people would call it house slaves, house negroes, but I agree with Lall. You have to have tokenism because of the optics. Tokenism feeds into keeping up appearances. Nobody is fooled, but all and sundry pretend to be recipients of some unknown strains of genius. I will stick to the little common sense that I have. Jagyo might be the biggest hypocrite in Guyana in this business about multi-ethnic, but in politics, such an attribute is priceless for attractiveness. On the opposition side, this simple question is dare to be asked. Now that crossed the color line, are there these few women in political Guyana? He wants to know where are the women. Women of pedigree and prowess, women of grand vision, and of ordinary hopes and dreams. I keep trying to insert this little needle into the consciousness of Jagyo, Norton, and Hughes for all thy knowing and get some knowing. He went on to say that somebody must make sacrifices that matter to the voting public. To the PPP, make a sacrifice of being less corrupt so that the people can have a glimpse of what is clean governance. To the PNC, cease being so uniform, for that is the best proof of what is genuine internal spiritual reform. And if that is not understood, then try this uppercut to the hard skull. Make the required sacrifice for the greater good. Stop being so black. And that is going to be the title of this video, Stop Being So Black. For a chance to stack up a little. This is coming from a man who is very critical of the PPP government. To me, sometimes he sounds very bitter towards the PPP. But this is a man saying to the PNC, stop being so black for a chance to stack up a little. With the dismay and undecided people who sit on the fences and think, with those who have had it up to their eyeballs with the PPP crocodiles, and they're feasting on the rich table of the people who are left hungry and wanting. To the AFC, appreciate that impatience and arrogance do not substitute veil for ignorance. Make the sacrifice of a few stepping down, bidding their turn, so that the group is not made to suffer due to selfishness. I was surprised to see Rafa Tradman as a so-called founder back on the slate. They should have probably, that position should have been shared down on. Some parts of this are what killed the PNC and the AFC in the 2015-2020 governance, and I agree with him totally. Self-help took precedence over self-sacrifice. I repeat Ghk Lall's word, self-help took precedence over self-sacrifice. A pay raise in the early days set the stage for what was to follow. Remember that pay raise? One wise party man had said that properly compensated members of parliament would resist the tentacles of corruption. Some wise fellow he turned out to be. And I can see now the fellow is no other than Joe Harmon, who said, I have no apology to be. I could remember initially they were denying about this pay raise. And the same Rafa Tradman said, no, that's going to put in the back burner. Then all of a sudden, Harmon comes and says, no, we have to have these pay increases for the ministers so they would not be lured by corruption. And he, Joe Harmon, had no apologies to make. I can remember that issue good. Everybody wants everything for themselves. No. My advice may not be exemplary, but it has merit. That's Ghk Lall speaking. Astute politicians give the people what they want so that they can get what they want later. If those are the leadership slates of the PNC and AFC, then they just partition Guyana and the minds of Guyanese. Good luck, good hunting. I'm going to go over what this columnist Ghk Lall said for one last time. Astute politicians give the people what they want so that they can get what they want later. So you're saying give the people what they want, and you, the politician, can get what you want later. Don't take what you want and then think about the people afterwards. He's saying that if those are leadership states of the PNC and AFC as it is right now, then they have just partitioned Guyana and the minds of Guyanese. Good luck, good hunting. I could remember when I was at the airport in 2018, because of my independent stance, I would have a lot of run-ins with PNC people and PPP people because I had an independent view and I would talk it as it is. Whichever party, I would come out and say my piece. If I feel that the PNC was doing wrong, I would speak it. If I saw the PPP doing wrong, I would speak it. And so both sides will look at me suspiciously. It's not a case that you are a PPP and you see your party doing something. No, there's nobody. We got to keep quiet. You are a PNC. No, boy, we got to keep quiet because they make the party look bad. No. When you have independent thought of mind, you can see a lot of stuff going on from the outside that is going on inside. And that's a fact. You don't have to be going to university. You don't have to be allowing politicians to think for you. My uncle, I could remember my deceased uncle always would tell me, don't take everything in terms of what people say. Do your reading, do your research before you come to a conclusion. I remember Vala Lawrence telling PNC people, do not question your leaders. But that is bullshit for me. There's no politician can tell me, do not question me. That's totally bullshit for me as far as I'm concerned. You have to question them. You have to hold them accountable. I saw some idiot on one of my videos, maybe probably from the PPP, speaking about trying to lecture me to get an education and that kind of stuff. I hope that person looking at this video. You don't have to go to university to come to certain conclusions. God has given you a brain. Use your damn brains and stop allowing politicians to mislead you. Stop allowing politicians to fool you. Some of you know that your parties, certain things are going on in your parties, but you turn a blind eye because you're saying no. You can't make the party look bad. And it amazes me. To me, it's like an old time something. People, both PNC and PPP are saying, oh, my grandfather, my daddy was a PPP. My dada was a PNC. Bullshit. You must be able to change your opinion. If you feel that this government is doing a good job, fine. If you feel that the opposition is promising something better and you want to change, you should be able to make that change. Not because 3 generations ago you were PPP or PNC, you have to continue supporting regardless of what the other is doing. There are a lot of people here in America, white people, Republicans, who voted for Barack Obama when he was ruling. There are going to be a lot of people, Republicans, who are going to vote for Kamala Harris. That's a fact. There's some Democrats who are going to vote for Donald Trump. That's a fact. This old time thing that people say, oh, my daddy was this and my daddy, and and you feel, oh, you got to continue the trend. No, you got to think for yourself. You have to use your own brains and think for yourself. And another thing I want to ask, the PPP people who are voting for Donald Trump, I have no problem with that. Absolutely no problem with that. what I want to know, a lot of you say that David Granger tried to rig the 2020 elections. Isn't it the same Donald Trump tried to go against the results of the elections in America? That's what I want to know. Isn't it the same Donald Trump that wanted the VP, Mike Pence, not to sign his signature in terms of the Electoral College? I wonder if some of you know what is the Electoral College. When you go to vote in the end, is the Electoral College determines the winner for these elections in America. It's not a Westminster system. The Electoral College, some of you probably don't even know what I'm speaking of. The Electoral College determines the winner. So even though that, like in terms of Hillary Clinton had the popular vote and the most votes, the Electoral College determines the winner. The Vice President had to sign off. Donald Trump wanted Mike Pence not to put his signature, and Mike Pence refused Donald Trump's intonation, and he decided to sign the document from Electoral College that honored the winner of this last elections. In fact, Mike Pence is saying right now, as a former vice president, he would not be supporting Donald Trump. So it's puzzling for me to see some of you saying, yes, David Granger, we tried to rig the elections in Guyana. Did Donald Trump not try to do the same thing? Phone in governors and these other people to see if they could overturn certain things? So it's amazing. It's quite amazing. David Granger and Donald Trump have two things in common. They tried to see if they could have overturned the results of the elections. I could remember seeing the PNC building there, videos in Lamar Street, where they were celebrating. Robert Trudon was right there grinning from ear to ear when they said the PNC, not the PNC, the coalition have won elections in Guyana. That's before the whole thing went astray. So it's amazing. You don't have to go to college to break it down. You just have to use the brain that God has given you. Happy Friday. Till next week.